Our next guests are two friends with an incredible story. When one of them was sentenced to 15 years in prison for burglary, his friend convinced the judge to release him 12 years early from Annapolis, Maryland. Please welcome Brandon and Sura. Sura?
Yes.
And Brandon?
Yes.
All right. So you've been friends since elementary school?
Yes.
Since what grade?
Fourth.
Fourth grade. All right. Then you go off to middle school, and that's when you started to grow apart? Middle school or high school?
Middle school.
Middle school, yes.
Okay. And how did that happen?
Well, basically, at the end of middle school for me in 8th grade, I got awarded we were in public school together. I got awarded an academic scholarship to a top private school in the city. And I took the opportunity to go. And when I went there, I just had better support, resources, opportunity. And all of my classmates there were on the route to college. And that was the route that I was following as well. So I was focused on my studies and my sports as well. And Sura, that was when our path diverged.
Okay, so did that affect you when he went off? Is that part of what happened when you kind of started hanging out with a different crowd and that led to you being incarcerated?
Yes.
Do you think that changed things?
I feel like, somewhat, it changed.
So you fall in with the wrong crowd, you end up getting incarcerated, and you didn't talk for 6 years, is that?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So then what made you reconnect with and get back into his life?
So I go to Davidson College in North Carolina. I'm a senior right now. And during my sophomore year, we got sent home because of COVID. So I spent an extended period of time in Annapolis. And while I was there, I saw on the news how people who were incarcerated in Maryland were having a hard time with the pandemic, not having access to adequate cleaning supplies, masks, not being able to properly social distance. And I knew that I had a personal connection to someone who was in there. So I wrote a letter to check in on the situation, give him some life updates on mine as well. Mm-hmm. That first letter turned into more letters and phone calls and Skype calls. And it got to the point where I decided that I wanted to start a project called Telling the Stories of the Ignored and Forgotten. And Sura's story was the one that I wanted to tell to the world in an objective way.
Right.
So I interviewed Sura many times over the phone, through letter, interviewed his family members, I went through all the public record from court. I wanted to understand his life story in the most objective way possible. So we had some tough conversations during that time and tried to get a big picture.
And what was your emotional and mental state during that time when he was interviewing you? I mean, how did you feel? Were you angry? Did you feel sorry for yourself? Or were you envious of him? What was happening to you?
I felt kind of like sorry for myself. I was more happy for him that he was doing a lot of good things with himself. And it motivated me to...
Good for you, for being happy for him when you were... That's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's amazing that you were happy for him. So then it motivated you, and then you started getting hopeful.
Yeah, hope that I would be home soon, and I wasn't going to be in there forever.
Wow, that's amazing. So then you convinced the judge. He gets out 12 years early.
That's right.
What a friend, by the way, huh? What a friend. So what's next for both of you?
I'm currently enrolled for GED classes to finish my GED. Hopefully by the end of this year, I started doing photography too. And hopefully by the end of this year, I can go to college for film productions.
Wow, photography. That's great. And what about you?
So I'm going to go to law school in the fall. I want to work on criminal justice reform and educational policy. And I also want to continue to work with my nonprofit. So I started a nonprofit in 2016 called Brightness Coalition for Success to work with youth in Annapolis who are having a hard time following the school-to-prison pipeline. And that's what I want to do going forward.
Well, that's fantastic. Brandon, this season we've partnered with TisBest. They want to give your nonprofit a check for $10,000.
Wow.
And
Thank you.
Sarah, I want to help you with your photography, so we got you some things to help you get started. To experience the true power of giving, visit TisBest.org. We'll be right back.